Thank you, and good night. So, and then it was on, okay? So, there's a lot that goes into making a career like that. And we did pretty well. 7 CCMA awards, 3 Juno nominations, and basically on the road constantly for the whole duration of that thing. So from starting to record to being, you know, kind of a local band, to being a regional band, to being a provincial band, to being a national band, and the pressure's on, because now everything you do has to be better than the last thing you did, and every show you go on, you gotta be it. And all the dreaming that went into that was really important, right? What you think about and what you imagine really matters. And I don't just believe it can make your life. I know it does, because I've done it a few different times, a few different ways. But so when I got there and I was doing the thing, I forgot to enjoy it. It became a very stressful situation to be in. And it's always about being enough, and always about, you know, shaking the right hands, and making sure that your next song gets on the radio. And then while you're touring that record, you have to have more of them coming in. You gotta be writing, you gotta be working. So it was really quite a time, and it was a real whirlwind. And things were going along nicely until I started noticing that I was having trouble with my voice. So I used to spend the entire day, I couldn't talk. So I would spend, we were traveling all day. We never did do that. So I'm on the plane, I'm by myself, I can't talk. We're in the vehicle on the way there, I can't talk. We get there, meet and greet, now I'm talking. Talk, smile, laugh, and get on stage, do it. And at the end of the show, go do the autograph line, and then that's it. I can't talk anymore. So I spent a lot of time like that. And in 1997, we won Independent Single and Song of the Year and Group of the Year at the CCMAs. And getting up to do that performance, we were on the show. And before the show, I sang at the audition, and I sang, well, not the audition, the soundtrack. And I did 0 to 60. But I had almost no voice. And the director of the show said, I think we're going to need you to lip sync. And I said, no way. Actually, I said, no way. So I said, I will have a voice. So after that, I go up to the green room by myself. And I got a steamer. And I'm steaming my voice and humming and walking around and doing push-ups. And like an hour or 2 hours go by, I'm dressed and ready. I'm working on my voice, just and then I hear the show start. And then they brought me down, and I did it. And it was like, wow. But right after that, I had to get surgery on my throat. And I thought that was the end of it. I thought I was good then. So, maybe I'll do a song, okay? We have this silent conversation every night. The way we lay here, barely touching, says it all. I'm so far from that old feeling, so close to getting up and leaving. But when I reach for the door, there's just a wall. 'Cause I know you'll say you love me, and I know I'll say me too. But heaven knows I hate this hell that we're going through. I wish that I could bring myself to stand and face the truth, instead of turning out the light and lying with you. The shadows of our love still fill this room, with the moonlight shining softly on your skin. But all those memories wash away as a tear rolls down your face, and I just can't hold you close like I did then. 'Cause I know you'll say you love me, and I know I'll say me too. But heaven knows I hate this hell that we're going through. I wish that I could bring myself to stand and face the truth, instead of turning out the light, lying here with you. Truth is, I can't stand myself for lying here with you. Little edit there. Yeah, I just got this feeling I need to kind of move things along, because get to the point, get to what matters. So we had an amazing career, Thomas Wade Wayward, and then Thomas Wade Wayward broke up. And we were broken up a good 2 years before anybody else knew about it. And it was pretty awful. You can imagine that getting divorced sucks. Imagine getting divorced from 4 people. Yeah, at once though, at once, right? Yeah, I'm not even gonna touch that, okay? So, it's very stressful, and being the one who wrote the songs, the one who was the front man, I had the next record ready. So I went off on my own and recorded it. And I had to fund it myself, do everything myself. It was very difficult. In fact, here's a good story. So this record is called Lucky 13, and I'm really proud of it. But Lucky 13 was not lucky in the least. And it's got some beautiful songs, beautiful string sections on it. I was really proud of it. So I'm trying to beg, borrow, and steal to get this thing to happen. And there's a guy who's sniffing around the studio who has a label. So I'm like, okay, I need a label. And he offers to pay for my string sessions. Oh, okay, as a show of good faith. So he pays for the sessions. And then he starts kind of leaning on me about it. And I find out that he's actually connected to the mob. Great, I owe him money. So anyway, I got out of it. I'm still in one piece. As you can see, I'm not sleeping with the fishes. Okay. You made me an offer, I couldn't refuse. And here I am. So releasing Thomas Wayne, or Lucky 13, was, stressful but amazing. So fast forward to 2001. So I've been having trouble with my voice. Even after the surgery, didn't really fix it. And it's just a weird feeling, If you can imagine what it's like, if a bird all of a sudden was trying to take off carrying more than its own weight. If it had like a weighted vest on it or something, it was like, what the heck's going on? It just harder and harder to make it happen. And a lot of struggling on stage just to make it happen. And of course, the harder, you have to do it, the more you want to stay in the spotlight, you have to do these things. And then 2001, December, I walked out on stage and opened my mouth to sing. And my voice was gone. It was gone. So, and I had 4 nights at this casino. And I had no voice. And it wasn't like having a cold. It wasn't like singing too much, and it didn't make any sense. I couldn't control my vocal cords. So, after that, I was scared and went home and went to a throat specialist, and he said, no, there's nothing wrong with your voice. Okay. Nothing. So I had to look for alternative explanations and solutions. So by now, I know a lot of people who've gone through the same thing. And they all go through the same thing, which is to say, you're a singer, and it's all you've ever been, and it's probably the thing that saved you. And now you can't do that. So I kept trying to fake it for about another year. And doing everything I could, went to some vocal coaches, learned too many different ways to sing that didn't make any sense at all, but I had to try. I went to energy healer. I went to a Brazilian faith healer. I'm not kidding, I did. He was shaking a chicken over my head. Didn't really do that, but that would have been cool. So, then we had a barbecue afterwards. Well, about this time. Okay, so it's interesting to note that during 1997, I got divorced. My grandfather passed away. And I won, swept the CCMA awards. This is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. But that is kind of part of the deal. It's just life is coming at you both ways. You're getting all the great things and all the things that are the worst. And you're getting them all at once. So I kept trying and I kept trying. And it was very uncomfortable. And then by 2000, so I just had to retire. So I put a message out there, that's it for me. And in my mind, what I did was I said, okay, well, there's a ton of singers. There's a ton of singers out there. So maybe I'm not supposed to be a singer. Maybe I'm supposed to be a songwriter and a producer. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be. So I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked on writing better songs, and I worked and I worked and I worked on making better records, and I worked and I worked on being a better guitar player. And I did everything I could, and I thought, okay, that's what it was. I'm not supposed to be a singer. This is the universe saying, smart enough. And then 2004, I started to notice that I had trouble saying certain vowels. And that was weird. It just was very strange. And I couldn't say certain vowels clearly. And it got worse and worse and worse, till it sounded like I had had a stroke. And then the medical establishment kicked in. Then they started paying attention. So they sent me in for every test there was. You know, every kind of picture they could take inside my cabeza, they did it. And my diagnosis came on May 9th, 2006. It was my birthday. And so I'm sitting in a room with a very, very well-known and very esteemed neurologist, movement specialist, and a whole bunch of people follow him around like penguins, right? And they're all sitting in this little room. And he tells me that I have oromandibular dystonia. Okay, so at this point, I can't even order a cup of coffee. So they might as well have called it rubber baby buggy bumpers, because I could not say oromandibular dystonia. But I didn't care what they called it. I want to know, okay,